So I was involved in an article for Grazia online about anti-anxiety medications, which I'll put the link to below. And I just wanted to talk a little bit more about that really, and a bit more about my experiences, because it's not something that I've really spoken about, and I don't think it's something that's spoken about a lot, because when it's happening sometimes people don't realise it's happening, or you're embarrassed that it's happening, and that is addiction to benzodiazepines, which is your diazepams, razepams, things like that. And it snuck up on me very slyly actually. I was first prescribed them many moons ago. I believe when I was in the eating disorder unit for anorexia, obviously the anxiety surrounding food on a PRN basis, so when required. And I pretty much instantly loved them. Because at first they just made me go to sleep, and there was that much going on in my mind that all I wanted to do was sleep. And then when I got used to them, it was just kind of a feeling of being in a fluffy cloud, you know, safe and cosy and warm, and nothing mattered. And I'd been craving that feeling for a long time with such a busy, hectic, stressed out brain that was basically just full of anorexia, depression. And so I really, really welcomed that feeling. And I went on the as and when required for quite some time, and I just kind of carried on with them. And then when I went home, I carried on taking them probably like 3 times a day, which is usually around the max dose, depending exactly what you're taking. But I just kind of went on from there, and the more and more chaotic and out of control I got, the more out of control my mind got, the more I took them to cope. So I took them when I got up, and then I took one because I felt stressed about whatever, and then I took one because I was leaving the house, and then I took one because I needed one because I was going to do something else. And it seemed there was always an excuse for needing one, and for taking one, just to kind of keep myself enclosed in that fluffy cloud feeling. And later down the line, then obviously I had a few general psychiatry admissions off after the eating disorders admissions, and I was still taking them, and I had them PRN in the hospital. And then I came out, and it was the point for me where my life went completely out of control, where I really lost my mind, if you like. I was, I think, terribly gripped by episodes of bipolar states without actually having the diagnosis, and the only thing that could keep me half able to function even was these medications. But the more out of control I got, the more I took, and the more fragmented my mind became, the more I forgot how many I was actually taking. And so by the end, I was literally eating these things like sweets. I was taking a lot a day just to remain on a level, and then some, because I would have forgotten that I would have taken them. And basically for me, it didn't even occur to me that I was addicted to them. My mind was too much of a mess for me to even consider that anyway. But I was just doing what I needed to get by. I wasn't getting any help from anywhere else. I was doing what I needed to do to get, or attempt to get through a situation and to get through the days, really. So it came to my attention that in fact I was addicted to them after I had attempted to take my own life. And after that, wrongly I have been told since, because it could have been dangerous, they refused to give me any medication. Because not only had I been taking the benzodiazepines, but I'd also been taking leftover old antidepressants, the medication that I was currently supposed to be taking. I was taking just things from all over the place. It was ridiculous, and half the time forgetting what I was even doing. So they stopped every medication, and I went completely cold turkey. Now, the withdrawal from that was absolutely horrific, and I think a massive part of that was the benzodiazepines, because I'd been taking so many for so long, and I was completely reliant on them to function. And when I stopped it all, it was literally, it wasn't just, you know, I got very anxious and, you know, mentally I needed them. Physically, I was ill. I was sick. I had stomach cramps. The tremors were absolutely horrendous. I couldn't even hold a glass of water sometimes because I'd jerk and the whole thing would nearly go flying out of my hand. My head would twitch. It'd feel almost like an electric shock sparked through my head, physical shock, like I felt it, that actually made my head twitch, that was visible. And I'd wake up in the night and my duvet, all underneath me, it was literally like somebody had just held the shower over me. My hair was like I'd just got the shower. I was literally dripping wet, and that went on for quite some time. And I remember going to the hospital, and I remember absolutely begging for something to take the edge off, but they were under instructions not to give me anything. I have been told since that shouldn't have happened, because that could have actually been dangerous, just leaving me cold turkey like that. But that's what happened, and it was not nice. It was awful, but I came through that by myself. I didn't have any support through that. I literally just lived through that, and eventually, and it took some time, it passed. But it was one of the most awful times of my life, and you know, I shouldn't have even have been still taking them. Benzodiazepines are meant to be given for a very short period of time to get you through. I think it's normally 4 weeks or something, I think, that they normally give them to get you through. I was on them for a long time, and I'd lie, you know, because obviously I was taking more than I should. I'd go to the doctors, and you know, my fault too, I'll hold my hands up to that. I'd go in and I'd lie and say I'd lost them, or I'd come up with a million reasons why I needed some more, but it was never really questioned. They were just given and given and given and given, and I just went through them like nobody's business. So the reason I did that, wanted to get involved with that article for Grazia Online, was because I wanted to show that side. I mean, don't get me wrong, these tablets, they are amazing. They really do work. If you're suffering with anxiety and panic attacks, they really do the job. They really do. I still take clonazepam now, but a very minimal dose, and I'm very aware of it. And they are fantastic, and they do help you get through, but they can be addictive. And I found out that the hard way, and I never thought I'd be addicted to something, you know, but I was physically addicted to it, not just mentally, and that snuck up on me from nowhere, and it wasn't something that I was expecting. And it's very easy to find yourself in that situation without realising that you've even got there. So I wanted to take part in that article, just to give my experiences in case there's anybody else out there who's going through a similar thing, and say, you know, it's okay. It happens. It actually happens too easily, especially if it's not monitored. So this isn't your fault. It is an addictive drug. So if you're going through something similar, then please do talk to somebody about it and get weaned off it properly. You know, just wean down properly. That's really important, and don't suffer with it on your own, but do speak to somebody about it, because the more you take and the longer it goes on, by the time it comes to trying to pull back, it's hard. It is. So it's really worth speaking to somebody about it. But it's a good article, so definitely have a look at it. There's a couple of other people's experiences with them as well, so it's definitely worth the read, because it really highlights the negatives of these medications and why they need to be monitored, which is why I wanted to be involved with it. So have a look, and if you're going through something similar, don't be alone with it. Speak to somebody about it, and it's fixable, and it's okay, and it's not your fault, but it's important to tell somebody.